Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live powered by Riverwind Casino. My name is Brandon Drumm, Parker Thune, Spencer Forsythe on the board. Lots to talk about. The QB situation at Oklahoma has gotten very interesting. Um, there's an official visit shakeup with Bowe Bentley, an in-home visit with Jaden O'Neal that shook the tree up a little bit and maybe moved things in a different direction. We'll see where that goes. Um, Lots to discuss there. Lots of staffers on the road, Parker. Lots of official visits at numerous positions being set up, and commitments have been taking place. Potential commitments also a few days from now. We'll see where that goes. We'll discuss that as well as defensive tackle or defensive lineman Brian Harris out of Jacksonville is set to decide on May 23rd. And so much more. But first, before we do that, as always, we have to thank our sponsors. Parker, take it away.
Yes, Riverwind Casino is our presenting sponsor. As all of you that watch the show regularly well know, Riverwind has been OKC's premier gaming destination for nearly 2 decades now. Almost 3,000 electronic games, table games, bars, and dining options, plus the best live music in the metro at the Showplace Theater. It's no surprise that Riverwind is always a good time. Also want to give a quick shout to the fine folks at Janiking, the greatest team to ever clean and a proud partner of OU Athletics. They deliver spotless results and solutions from stadiums to any size business across the country. So check out those solutions and find which one matches your home or business needs at janiking.com. That's JANIKING.com. Also, those of you that watch on a regular basis, you probably know the drill. If you're new here, here's the way that we're going to operate and the way that we operate every single week. If you have a question that you feel absolutely must be answered, you can send it to us via the YouTube chat in super chat form. So attach any financial contribution whatsoever, any amount to your question, and that is how we can guarantee we will read your question, we will answer it, we will address your opinion, your comment, whatever it may be. Anything you say to us via the super chat function, we will address throughout the show. You can feel free to ask us a question in the standard chat. We just can't promise that we're going to get to it because of the volume that will stack up over the course of the show. But we do make the commitment to you every week that we'll hit every single super chat before we call it a wrap. There's a lot of ground to cover tonight, Brandon. We talked about the situation most recently on the OU Insider Under the Visor podcast between the two quarterbacks, Jaden O'Neal and Bowe Bentley. O'Neal, of course, committed to Oklahoma, has been since last June. Bentley uncommitted. The Sooners are hoping to add him to the fold. And the feeling that we've had for quite some time in this regard is that getting both is probably a dreamland scenario. Realistically speaking, you're looking at one.
Yeah, I think I'm muted there. Okay. I don't know anymore. I look, I know that's what everybody wants to think, and that seems to be I think it's the logical way to think. But after that in-home, things were said, grievances were aired on both sides. And a proverbial reset button was pressed, and things were put out there that I'll just say this, that leads me to believe the O'Neals are way more open to a 2 QB class than ever before. As a matter of fact, one of the main topics of conversation was competition doesn't matter. As long as you want Jaden, as long as you're going to get a fair shake at this, or Jaden's going to get a fair shake at this, and a potential to start at Oklahoma, as long as he's a priority to you, then they can move in a positive direction. And the other school that you've got to worry about is Florida State at this time. I'll also say this, that Um, from what I was told in just talking to people, and this is from the Oklahoma side of things, the exact quote was, "You don't send four coaches to somebody that isn't a priority to you. That's just not how in-homes work. Usually one or two will go if it's a guy that you want, but that you're willing to let go." But they brought a variety of coaches for a variety of reasons. Every one of those coaches has a different personality and can handle different topics the way that they needed to be handled. And the O'Neills were aware of that. As a matter of fact, I was told that Jaron O'Neill, who's the father of Jaden O'Neill, was I'm quoting them, the most prepared parent they've ever dealt with on an in-home. I mean, there were a lot of things that had never been done before at an in-home that he had set up to, not so much, it's not to make them feel uncomfortable, but was to put the feet to the fire and be like, look, you're going to answer us straight here. There's no bull crapping around. And they said, and I'll just tell you what Jaron told me, Oklahoma did a fantastic job. They were honest. He could tell they weren't being salesmen, that they weren't pitching him, that it was real. And that to me was not something that you heard prior to that in home. So this thing is moving in a better direction. Now, again, like Parker, we'll see where this goes when the actual situation arises and if Bowe Bentley does commit. Is that something that is going to be able to be handled at that point in time? Because when that bridge crosses and or that marker gets hit and it becomes a reality, how are things going to be handled? So far, the O'Neills are telling us, and I trust them, that they don't care about the competition. And I believe that 100%. Give Jaden a fair shake and let's rock is what they're saying. So that's a different line. And Parker, you can vouch for that's a different line of phrasing that we had not heard at all behind the scenes.
No
Very
doubt.
different.
I mean, at this point, it feels like, well, you can't put the cart before the horse.
Correct.
This conversation really doesn't amount to much of anything if Oklahoma doesn't get Bowe Bentley committed.
Very true.
That's kind of the prerequisite to figuring out all of this logistically and just getting things squared away with both guys, at least in theory. Like you got to have both guys on board. And so there's conflicting feelings, conflicting intel right now on the Bentley situation. Obviously, as we discussed on the podcast, I think it makes you feel a little bit better about Oklahoma's chances that they get the last visit here. They're going to get the chance to make the decisive impression. So, I think you'd rather be last than first, but there's a very, very real chance that this is all for naught and Bowe Bentley just goes to LSU. And at that point,
Yeah.
you're rocking with Jaden. Although it's going to be interesting to see, right? Like if Oklahoma is truly committed to taking two quarterbacks, where do they go if Bowe Bentley
They'll go after
doesn't?
somebody else. You and I both know that there are they haven't offered them, but there's other quarterbacks that they've likely reached out to.
Hmm.
Um, and have been talking to if this thing does go sour with Bowe Bentley. I don't think they're going to be on the level of a Bowe Bentley. And,
No, yeah. At
and
this
and here's the
point,
other thing. I think fans, Parker, if that really does happen and Bowe Bentley does choose LSU, the respect that everybody's going to have for Jaden O'Neil for just sticking and riding those waves out is going to be otherworldly. Like he is going, the fact that he's not only coming from an Oklahoma school at that point, and he's an Oklahoman for all intents and purposes now. And he's an in-state kid staying with Oklahoma, moving halfway across the country. There's going to be a lot of fans that are going to look at that and go, "That's our guy.
yep.
That's our guy." And so you got to give credit where credit's due. That they're like, "Screw it. Let's see what happens." And
Couple
so far, so good.
couple super chats here. Modern day caveman dropped us $2 and asked, well, "Who's up next if we don't get either quarterback?" Look, let's cross that bridge when we get there. The Sooners have Jaden O'Neil committed. For the moment, he's not going anywhere. They've got a shot at Bowe Bentley. We'll know in the next 3-4 weeks if he's going to OU or LSU. If somehow they wind up with neither, I don't know it. I'd be lying if I said I did right now. I don't think that's a possibility that Oklahoma is spending a whole lot of time considering at this moment. There's a
Yeah.
confidence, and there has been, that they're going to go at minimum 1 for 2. And then if you need to look for a second quarterback, you look around for a second quarterback. The kid that went viral last week, Jackson Fields from Louisiana, he's going to camp with OU in June. There'll be some other guys, offer candidates that camp with OU in June.
Hmm.
And then you probably what you're going to do is you're going to watch senior tape. You're going to watch these guys' first 4 games of their senior year, some of the uncommitted talents out there, and see who you like best, and put the pedal to the metal in September or October on a second guy. Breeze tossed us $5 and asked, "What's up, P Grizzly? Any word on the new running back offer, Ryan Estrada? Things on the outs with Morris and Walker?" No, not at all. Oklahoma still feels good about their odds to flip Rylan Morris from Baylor. Again, that's not a certainty. That's not, I don't even know that it's a likelihood right now, but they're going into OV season with a shot, right? Like they have a chance. They're going to get him on campus for an OV. They will be able to take their shot with Rylan Morris. And then DeMarco Murray went in home with Zathan Walker today. So
Yeah.
Sooners are still pushing there. They got a chance. They got to overcome Nebraska. But the interesting thing with the Ryan Estrada offer is, so he doesn't talk to anyone. I don't know that he's ever gone on the record for an interview. So trying to get through to him, have had no success as of late. But when was the last time, Brandon? Help me out here. When was the last time Oklahoma recruited El Paso, Texas?
El Paso. Was there an Estrada from El Paso, Texas back in the day that played running back at OU? Or no, I'm thinking Estes. Was he from El Paso?
I have no idea.
No, I know they recruited El Paso, and I feel like there was somebody. I was just looking at the commits the other day because I was debating with somebody about 3 stars and the evaluation that Oklahoma's doing, and they're not getting, the 4 and the 5 stars, or supposedly they're not. Dude, it's May, and the official visits haven't even happened. They're going to end up with a really, really good class. You and I both agree on that. But like and I went through and like was going through all the hits, that they've hit on. Just I know this is off topic for a second, but it's crazy, Parker. Did you know I went through and was counting and I got to like 2008 or 2009, and Oklahoma averaged like between 6 and 8 3 stars in every class,
Mm-hmm.
and they would hit on over half of them in every class, not just hit like NFL guys or all conference guys. Like the 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 misconception that OU fans have, like OU was like recruiting otherworldly for years because they got a 3 star here, a 3 star there, or 5 star, excuse me, 5 star here or there for years, or 2 or 3 in a couple of classes. They still do that, but on the back end, the evaluations that Oklahoma did under Bob Stoops was what made Oklahoma Oklahoma, that tough, gritty team. And a lot of those guys end up going to the NFL. That was the conversation that I saw. And there was an El Paso player, and I do not remember who it is. I do not
Well,
remember who it is. But yes, there was one in the last 25 years, I think.
yeah. I mean, everybody signs 3 stars, right?
Yep.
It's a matter of, have you done better evals with the 3 stars that you have
Right.
pursued and taken than everybody else? I mean, shoot, look at 3 of the most integral players on the offensive side of the ball for Oklahoma in 2025. Jaden Ott, 3 star. Deion Burks, 3 star. John Mateer, 2 star. So you can find guys from the ranks of the 3 stars and even the two
Yep.
stars that turn out to be really good college football players,
Yep.
but that means you did better homework than everybody else, is what that means.
Yep.
And the people that did that homework, they get rewarded financially and otherwise if they're doing a good job picking those guys from the 3 star ranks that can really, really play at a high level. So with Ryan Estrada, look, he's already got official visits set to Minnesota, to Wisconsin, to Alabama, and oh gosh, what's the other one? He has another OV set up, and for the life of me, I can't remember what the fourth one is. But suffice to say, he's got some major contenders for his services right now. Oklahoma's probably going to have to get somebody. Or I'm sorry, they're going to have to get him to bump somebody from his OV schedule in order to have a shot. Uh, on tape, it's interesting. He's a smaller back. He's only about 5'9". On tape, I'm not as in love with him as I am with Dezathan Walker and Rylan Morris, at least in terms of, okay, like this guy can show up right away and contend for playing time in year one. It's clear that with Ryan Estrada, you're projecting a little bit more. What is he going to be given a couple years to develop at the collegiate level versus what kind of player is he going to show up as? But obviously, any back that has a Wisconsin offer, people are going to look at his offer sheet and they're going to be impressed by Alabama, right? I'm almost more impressed by Wisconsin because when Wisconsin is going all the way down to El Paso, Texas to offer a running back, that's how you know there's something there. Because Wisconsin, over the last 3 decades, they've had some of the best running backs in the history of college football. From Ron Dane to Melvin
Facts.
Gordon to most recently, Jonathan Taylor. So if Wisconsin likes him, I like him. I'm not sure I love him yet, but I like him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think anytime that you are going after somebody that Wisconsin has decided they were going to go after, particularly at running back or offensive line, uh, chances are that guy's going to end up being a pretty good player down the road. So I don't hate that offer at all. Um, Modern day caveman, have we done that one yet?
Yes. Yes, we have.
Okay, we did. Okay. Oh, it's the next if we don't get QB, the Peyton Houston deal. Okay, so you went to go see McMorris, uh, Norman North
Yep.
here recently or yesterday, today. Did you go today, yesterday? When was
Today.
it?
Yes.
Today. How did that go? Evaluation, Oklahoma offer coming soon?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, Bill Beatonbow is out there, but obviously the way that things are run in that building now, it's no longer Bill Beatonbow that has the final say as to whether they make a move on a kid like that. So he's got to have the approval of the whole personnel staff, right? Jim Nagy and his folks, they got to put the stamp on Daniel McMorris. So we'll see if that happens. But obviously, it's a consideration. If it wasn't, Bill Beatonbow wouldn't be wasting his time up at Norman North, right? So he was out there checking out McMorris. Washington State was in town. Texas Tech was in town looking at McMorris. Kansas State and Arkansas are going to be in later this week, as I understand. Um, Look, if Oklahoma offers McMorris, I'd be very shocked if he doesn't wind up in OU's class. And I think there's a ton of upside there. What's clear, though, is that just with where he's at frame wise, he's not anywhere close to playing offensive tackle at the collegiate level. He is going to need, I would say, probably 2 years to be physically and technically ready for the demands of playing offensive tackle in the SEC. But once he is, there's enough athleticism, there's enough traitsiness there that I can very well see Daniel McMorris becoming an excellent college football player, potentially an NFL guy down the road. I mean, that's why you see Power Four schools all over his offer sheet, right? And
Yeah.
they're all banking on that potential. They're all banking on that untapped, well, for lack of a better word, that untapped potential that he seems to have by virtue of that athleticism and the
Hmm.
frame and the wingspan, the length, right? And if you can, you're probably going to have to put 40, 50 pounds on him still. If you can do that, you got something. You
Yeah.
really got something there. So it's a long-term play, and I think that's part of the hesitation that there has been on OU's end to just go ahead and offer the kid because he's not a year one guy. He's probably not a year two guy either.
Yeah.
And so with where Oklahoma is at as a program, having gone 6-7, 2 out of the last 3 years, right? You're probably more looking for guys that can get on the field and help you if you need them immediately. But as Mick Jagger once saying, you can't always get what you want, right? And you got a kid down the road that has the ability, certainly, to be a stud if developed properly 2, 3 years down the line. I think at a certain point, if you're looking at cost benefit analysis, what you wish you had in the 2026 class versus what you actually can go and get. I like Oklahoma's current depth at tackle. I like their youth
Hmm.
at tackle. I think Daniel McMorris would be a viable take for the Sooners because I don't think they're in a position where the guy that they have or the guys that they have coming in this 2026 cycle are going to need to see the field for a couple of years. I would not imagine that'll be the case. So I think they can afford to take their time and develop a guy like McMorris.
So I agree because, like you said, it's not really going to matter if you win this year. One, you're going to get an easier schedule. You're not going to have to go through this gauntlet of whatever. You're going to end up with more of a Texas type schedule, right? Which isn't, I won't call it easy, but it's not the gauntlet that Oklahoma is going through right now in the first two seasons in the SEC. Two, we just discussed it. Much like, and I said, much like running back, offensive lineman, if this school offers, you kind of think they're going to be a pretty good player down the line. Wisconsin and Stanford have offered McMorris. They know offensive linemen at those two schools, much like Oklahoma does. So, yeah, you would think that potentially you would offer him and just go ahead and deal with the development side of it, or just send him off to Stanford and take him from the Cardinals like you have every other big time offensive lineman from the last few years. Let them develop him. Come on back.
Walter Rouse, Luke McClainco, Jake
Yeah.
Michaela. Is
Yep.
Stanford Oklahoma's new farm team?
Seems that way, doesn't it? Particularly on the offensive line. Particularly on the offensive line. Um, Bagman with a comment of the 25th ranked class incoming. I will bet you it's between 8 and 15.
Yeah, I don't know that we will live to see a day where, absent a very, very unique and alarming set of circumstances, Oklahoma recruits as low as the 25th class in the country. I mean, that takes some trying. That takes some effort, some intentional effort, some self
Yep.
sabotage, even for a school with Oklahoma's level of tradition and resources to recruit that poorly. I mean,
I,
they only took 18 kids last cycle and still wound up what, top 15?
yeah, ridiculous. Yep. And here's the thing. You know, I talked to Tyler Ruxer today, and he was talking about how the offer and if you go look, I know at Rivals he's a 3-star, but he's probably moving into the 4-star range here really quick with Rivals. Just laying that out there for everybody. Don't expect him to be 3-star much longer. Um, he's top, I believe, with 24/7 and on three. He's what, top 250? Am I correct on that? I think on three he's like 170 or something like that.
Yeah, with on three, I think he's number 169 in the
Something to
country.
yeah, something to that extent. So like he's a highly rated player, the number one player in Indiana, and this kid, you guys are gonna love this kid. By the way, like absolutely love this kid. I did an interview with him today. Gonna have it up over the next few days, and it is the kid's fantastic. But he said that Jim Nagy is the one that found him. Was just scouring tight ends and found him and sent him to the staff and said, "This is the guy you got to have." And so I asked him what he thought about Jim Nagy, and he said, "Anybody that can have an eye that he has, he's very confident in himself. I'm going to tell you that Ruxer is very confident in himself. He takes the badge of honor of being a small town kid that is defying all odds in what he's doing right now." And um, he basically said, "You got to have those type of guys. You've got to have a Jim, and to have a Jim Nagy find you." A guy that's won 4 Super Bowls and had a team or been on staff with a team that's been in 6 is a very, very, he called it high praise for himself and felt like it kind of solidified who he was. Um, so, and everybody wants to ask, why doesn't Indiana offer him? Signetti and him, I guess Signetti didn't want to offer him if, much like what Oklahoma does with in-state guys, Parker, if they weren't 100% sure at the time they were going to take his commitment, because he grew up a Hoosier fan. And he basically told Signetti, if I walk out of here, I'm not coming back. Like, I love that kid. I love that kid. He is that's the type of kid you want on your team, dude. He
That's
knows what he
awesome.
wants. He knows who he is. That is amazing to know and be that confident in who you are. Like, dude, I'm not, if you're not going to do it, then what are we wasting our time for? And I don't know that he said it in that many words, but it was a roundabout way. Like, we're not doing this. And they've never done it since. So, like, hey, you got to give credit to the kid. The kid knows what he wants. And now all these big schools are after him. It is, it's quite remarkable, Parker.
There
Uh,
it is. We have another super chat from Breeze who said, "How about that June 6th through 8th weekend lining up to be very impressive?
oh my
Bentley,
God.
Ruxer, and Dickerson. That is some elite miracle whip." Yes, my radio colleague Grayson Singleton referred to those three yesterday as Tres Leches.
The, their little pill.
They're really good though.
They are. All three are very, very, very good. Um, if Oklahoma can somehow pull, let's just say, for all intents and purposes, that Bentley goes to LSU, but you still end up with Ruxer and Dickerson, and you end up with who's there? Who else is there on June 6th? It's a night. There's 19 guys.
That is a freaking huge weekend,
It's
is what it's
19, dude.
becoming.
I absolutely hate our life that weekend. I'm just letting
I'll
you
give you
know.
guys a partial glimpse at the OV slate for that weekend. You want to see the full slate, go to ouinsider.com. Sign up today.
19.
That is the place to be. Uh I think we're past 19 now.
Is it
Yeah,
past 19
we have
now?
20. We have 20 listed.
Okay.
I think because Matthew Nelson moved his official
That's
visit
right. He did. That's
to
right.
Champion Barbecue to the June 6th through 8th weekend. So
Uh,
the ones we mentioned, Bentley, Ruxer, Dickerson, you have Matthew Nelson. Um, you have Deacon Schmidt, the four-star offensive tackle from the state of Colorado that OU's in very good shape with. Noah Best, Braxton Lindsey, Rylan Morris, the Baylor running back commit. And yeah, that's only scratching the surface. I think I listed 8 there. There are 12 others listed at
yeah.
ouinsider.com that you're going to want to know as that weekend draws near. So I think that weekend right now is actually even bigger numbers wise than the
Then the
Champ U
champion.
barbecue.
Yeah. Uh, they're both huge. Like the amount of 4-star and potential 5-star guys that are on both those lists is stupid. So anybody that thinks like this is just going to be just a downtrodden cycle of recruiting is you're just looking at the numbers now. And Parker, we talked about it. Maybe it was on podcast or the live the other day. 2023 was worse at this time or close to it. One of the two. It felt worse, I think, because we're so used to Oklahoma just killing it so early under Lincoln Riley that the way that BV operates, I don't know that the fan base has still gotten used to it. That he genuinely wants you to take your official visit before you commit unless you're 100% done. That is a BV thing. Like, take your official visits, commit to us when you're done. If you are done and you just want to take an OV to Oklahoma, which it sounds like that's where when they came out and said with Brian Harris that he's not going to take any other visits once he commits. That sounded, and I didn't see Clemson on the list.
Uh-huh.
It kind of felt like Oklahoma, right?
And it does feel like
It
Oklahoma
still
going
feels
into
like
Friday.
Oklahoma
Yeah.
there. So, yeah, I just this notion everybody keeps saying Jaden O'Neal isn't a 4-star. He's a 4-star on he's a top 250 kid on Rivals. Is he where is he not a 4-star? Is it 24/7?
Has he been dropped that far on 24/7? Let's have a
I
look.
believe he is.
Let's have a look. Yes,
I
he is a
believe he
three
is.
star on 24/7.
Yep. I think that's where it is. You can go to on 3 and I think we'll see if let's see what he is on all of the yeah, 24/7 is the only one he's a 3-star. That's it. Everybody else has him ranked fairly high. ESPN has him 113 in the country, Oklahoma or Rivals 158. The others he's right outside the top 250. He's actually composite 232, so he's a top 250 kid in the country composite. So yeah, that notion he's a 3-star is wrong. I don't. What I don't understand is how that happened, Parker. I don't get it. Like he won the Rivals LA and he's going to the Rivals 5-star, right?
Yep.
He performed well at Under Armour in LA, was one of the highest people there. He was one of the top guys at Elite 11. What do we how did that happen? How does that happen? He moved to Oklahoma, so let's drop him to 3-star. He's playing OK Preps. Do you think that do you buy that?
No, I
You
mean,
don't?
I'm sure it's probably it. Yes, I would safely assume it's a lot more nuanced than that. Um, I don't know. I can't speak to that. It's it's someone else's evaluation and rankings
Yeah.
calculus, and I won't put words in their mouth.
Jaron O'Neill commented, "This is comedy," with a whole bunch of laughing in the comments. What's up, Jaron? What's up, Jaron? Anyways, all right. Outside of Brian Harris, do you think Oklahoma garners another commit before June 1st?
Before June 1st. Okay, so that's 10 days. In the next 10 days.
Okay, before the June 6th official
Uh,
visit. How about that? That's 17 days.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to say with that we believe that Brian Harris is a Sooner on Friday. Assuming that goes OU's way, I think that's going to be their last commit until OV season. That's my feeling on it.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like anybody else is like imminently close to locking in a decision.
Yeah, I kind of agree. How many do you think they end up with outside of June 6th?
Wait, what do you mean outside of June
I mean,
6th?
after June 6th through 8th is over. Sorry. I got caught
I'll
reading
bet you
and
they get a
talking.
couple on that weekend.
Yep.
I'll bet you they get two or three. Then obviously, like long term, you'll start to get more of those guys locked in throughout like the months of July and August. But I'll bet you they get two or three the weekend of.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I was going to say maybe 4 that weekend. Um, I'm interested to see, like, with everything that's happening at defensive line, do you think Deuce Gerald still takes his OV to Oklahoma? The thing's just gone quiet there.
Yeah,
It's been a
I'm not
weird
counting on it.
deal.
I'm not counting on it. I mean, there are enough options elsewhere, right? In addition to Harris, you have Valdon Sohn, you have Taj
Yep.
Overton, you have Elijah Golden. You're not
Yeah.
you're not absent options right now.
No. And if people are asking who Brian Harris is, I guess let's discuss because they obviously didn't watch
Come on,
the.
folks.
We've talked about him on 2 straight podcasts, but we will discuss this for you, Mr. Kearney. Um, he is he plays defensive end out in Jacksonville. He's a 4-star defensive line, but he's 6'4", 290.
He's going to play defensive tackle.
He's going to play defensive tackle. Like he is already built like a defensive tackle. Um, I if you watch his film, he's super twitchy. He's down to South Carolina and Alabama and Oklahoma. He wants to stay in the SEC. Yes, Michigan and Penn State are in his top 5 list or 6 or whatever, but don't count on him going to the Big Ten. He wants to stay in the South, but at the same time, he wants to play for a school that he's comfortable with. And it sounds like Todd Bates doing Todd Bates things has come up and made a surprise, just shocked the crap out of everybody whenever Brian Harris popped up as a guy that Oklahoma was potentially leaving for because that was not on anybody's radar. But Todd Bates does that every year. every year. The unfortunate thing is Valdon Stone felt like he was Oklahoma for the longest time. He showed up to Oklahoma numerous times, and then all of a sudden, Nebraska goes all the way out to Sweden, visits mommy and daddy, and now the buzz is all with the Huskers. I reached out to somebody and asked, "Is Oklahoma going to do that?" And I quote, "There will be no international travel for the OU staff this time around." So,
Probably for the
um,
best. Those are expensive
yeah.
flights.
Well, not just that. It's just, is he that much? He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. I think he could be a 5 star when it's all said and done. I think he's that good. However, is he that much better than everybody else that you're after that he warrants all that, I guess, all that attention, all that service, just taking all the resources towards him and away from 3 or 4 other guys that you can get that have similar potential? Is he worth that? I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? Because I don't know. I feel like if you get Overton,
I
if you
think
get
the
Harris,
necessity of landing a guy like Valdon Stone decreases significantly if Brian Harris picks OU on Friday.
I agree. Because then you potentially get Overton, Harris, and Golden. If those are your 3 defensive tackles, holy crap. And the other thing is Oklahoma could end up with 4 Sunshine State defensive linemen in this class.
Okay, Jake Krell,
Yep.
D'Anthony Lafayette,
Yep.
Daniel Norman, and
Well, there's 5 or 6 that they're in on, but I was just could end up with 4 potentially. Like I feel good about 4. How about that?
those four would be okay, Krell,
Mm-hmm. Harris,
um, Harris,
Golden,
obviously. And who?
Golden, Golden. Like you feel decent about Golden. Not great, but you feel decent.
Still feels like a little bit of a shot in the dark with Golden.
You think?
Um,
I think Lafayette's up there. I think Oklahoma. I don't know that I would pick him.
yeah, they're battling
Um,
LSU and Miami.
yep.
So,
And Norman,
when
everybody that's coming with Norman late kind of scares me. But
yeah,
that's why I said
Miami,
could.
Colorado.
Yes,
Yeah.
could end up with 4.
I like them for Harris. I
Yep.
like them for Krell.
Yep.
That's probably so like at least two. At least two. Maybe three. Yeah. Four's
Potentially
within the
4.
realm of possibility, although
That's what I'm saying. Within the realm of possibility 4, which would be, has that ever happened? I know Oklahoma's gotten 4. I think they got like 6 or 7, I believe, in a class from Florida. I think 2018 and 2022 was a very Florida Latin classes, but um, I think 2023 as well. But 4 in the same defensive line would be like now you're SEC in it, bro. That's an SEC D line, and they're all 4 stars or better. I mean,
mhm.
Jake Krell could be a 5 star. He is a 5 star. He's 27 overall. By the number, he's a 5 star. I
Well,
don't know
yes.
why why have you not put the 5th star up there next to him, rivals? I don't know.
Because they don't expand. Like nobody expands the 5-star group to a full 32 until the very tail end of the
Which is just
cycle.
stupid. If it's top 32 at the end, it's top 32 all the time. You don't agree with that?
No, I don't.
Eh,
It's
Agree to disagree.
yeah, well to slap the 5-star label on a kid should not be taken lightly, And
No,
so like if you have guys early in the class that you feel like are surefire 5-star dudes, and that's the way that pretty much every site does it. They'll start out with 3 or 4 pretty early
yeah,
on, and then they'll expand it to 7 or 8, and then 10 or 12, and then 15, and then eventually you're at 32. But I think the goal would be, uh, in as much as it is possible, minimize the phenomenon of removing the 5th star from a kid. Obviously, you're not going to be able to avoid it entirely,
no,
but you
but
don't want to be you don't want to be giving 32 guys the 5-star distinction after their freshman year of high school is complete, right? Because how much is going to change between then and the time that they graduate? A lot.
A lot. However, however, with Krell, he continued. All he's done is shot up in the rankings. Has he moved backwards yet at all? I don't
I don't
think he
believe so.
has.
I mean, he's
No.
been a continual stock riser. Yes.
So just give him the fifth star. Get it over with. That way, Oklahoma fans can say, "Got a chance to get a fifth star." And stop asking us that question. That's a question every week, Parker. Will Oklahoma get a fifth star? Well, they have one 5-star in the class. Over under 1.5. I'll take the under.
I think they will have
Yep.
one 5-star. I would say the odds on favorite is probably Jake Krell.
Yeah. Um, are you we've talked about SMU a lot, and I know you've talked about it on I've listened to you on the KREF, but if you're Oklahoma, are you still worried about the SMU, like to the point where you think that they're causing so much issues with you that you need to potentially look away from the DFW area more than you have? I agree.
No, yeah, you're not looking away from the DFW area. I
Well,
think
no,
you're just prepared to fight tougher battles with SMU than you have been historically.
but I don't think
It's like
they're getting the top guys. That's the thing. They're not getting those guys. They're getting like the meddling, the guys, which is weird. OU fans freak out because the SMU took a 3-star away from Oklahoma, and it's like the end of the world. But then they get mad when Oklahoma takes a 4-star, which I don't get. Psyche of a fan. I
it's
love it
just
though.
yeah,
I
and
love it.
it's one of those things you deal with. Like it's if let's say Nebraska were really good and they were able to get it cooking in Texas again on the recruiting trail. It's one more school that you have to battle with, especially in DFW there locally. But to their credit, the Ponies have come out with some big recruiting victories. They beat Oklahoma for Markel Ford. They beat Oklahoma for Ryan Gilbert. They beat Oklahoma for Alger Miles, and they beat Oklahoma for Pupunga Toa Katoa most recently.
Yeah.
Gonna have to hold off SMU for Noah Best. We know that, right? Like that's an understanding that everybody on the OU side has. Hey, we're gonna have to look over our shoulder, and we're gonna have to be mindful of the fact that SMU is right there in the race, and he's not the only one that's OVing OU in the month of June for whom SMU is also involved. But I think boy, that would hurt a lot if SMU were able to win the battle for Noah Best, because that is one guy that has been quite objectively leaning to Oklahoma for a long,
It's from
long time,
Owasso.
close to a year.
Yeah, he's originally from Owasso. That one would hurt a lot if you are Oklahoma.
If SMU gets Best and they get Zach Turner, that's
Oh
kind
my
of
God.
that's a clean sweep. There's a clean sweep for every single prospect that Oklahoma was involved with, every single uncommitted prospect that they were angling for going into OV season.
Yeah, now that things have started moving in the positive direction for Jaden O'Neal, I mean I'll even tell you this, like um Ruxer was like, I want to get in contact with whoever the quarterback is at Oklahoma committed. He's been talking to Ryder Mix quite a bit. I guess he's been recruiting Ruxer pretty hard. Um, which to me, from a tight end perspective, Joe John Finley, fans are y'all are gonna like you're gonna pull your hair out, but Ruxer thinks Joe John Finley is one of the best coaches there is. He loves his personality. He loves the fact that he's played in the NFL. He loves the fact that he loves Oklahoma. He loves the fact that he developed Braden Willis. Like that sticks out to him because they have a very similar skill set. And so that
I'm sure
is,
I'm sure Tyler Ruxel will have no shortage of OU fans in his DMs letting him know how wrong he is about Joe John
I
Finley.
know, I know.
which is
I
just
know.
completely counterproductive. But people are going to do
Very.
it.
Yes, they will. But anyways, I like Oklahoma for him, by the way. I do. I went into that conversation thinking, Northwestern, he likes him a lot. The thing that he said that really stuck out to me more than anything, Parker, was I like Norman because I'm from a small town and it's in a big city area that you can do things, but you don't feel like you're in a big city when you're in Norman. And that was a big deal to him. He said going to Northwestern, going to Raleigh, Durham, like going to Minneapolis, like that's overwhelming to somebody from a town his size. So I thought that was interesting. Very, very interesting. Um, yeah, though the people are talking about Bauer Sharp. He kind of reminds me of Bauer Sharp as far as his skill set, by the way, with his
Oh gosh,
athleticism.
Drum made the Bauer Sharp comparison, folks. We can call it a night.
Hate me now, guys, hate me now. All right, yeah. We got a lot going on OU Insider, bro. Like we really do.
Oh my goodness. It has
I
been content on top of content on top of content for the
I'm
last
about to,
week.
I'm about
Members
to
can
drop
attest.
the in homes that they've been on, where Oklahoma stands, and who they've seen over the last like 4 days, as far as like the staffers out on the road. Um, Dropped a big note on safety recruiting for 2026 today, where things stand with Braden Presley out of Bigsby. Um, got stuff coming on Cooper Hackett, who's a potential 5-star in 2027. Got stuff coming on Caden Penny. Um, got stuff coming on several other, obviously Tyler Ruxer. Um, there's a target up in the Tulsa area for 2028 that Oklahoma, I think, is going to go all in on, and they like a lot. I'll tell you the name off the air, Parker, um, because that's for you. I'm not trying to say like, oh, I know something you don't type of deal, but it's for our members first, and we'll talk about them later. But um, yeah, there's a lot going on. I counted, Parker. Since Monday, you and I have dropped 12 notes. And in all those notes, there have been at least three or four notes in those notes. So if you count it, there's like 36 different notes since Monday on recruiting. On
The
recruiting alone.
information never stops flowing.
And
Never.
before that, the week before that, we told you that Oklahoma was in a good spot for Ja'Cory Smith 48 hours before that took place. We told you that Nico Jandro was moving in a positive direction and that thing, we even told you the time that it was going to happen. So, like, we've been on it. We try to stay on it over on OU Insider VIP. That's the type of content you get. Plus, you get to talk to Parker and I every day. Every day. We answer your questions. Got a chat going on right now. Answered a ton of questions today on that. Um, we're here for you guys. Jesse is doing great with softball. Um, obviously, we got a lot of baseball content. So lots going on over there on OU Insider VIP. Some team note. I dropped some team notes today as far as like the future for Oklahoma, why Oklahoma is doing this and that with certain positions because of where they stand with those positions moving forward and who they like, who they think is going to be good, all that type of stuff. It's all on OU Insider VIP. All of it. Every day we're dropping notes for you guys. $9.95 a month, $99.95 for the whole year. It's a big, big, big message board community as well. Talk about Thunder. We Thunder up MVP right here. MVP shirt. We got that going on. A lot of Thunder talk, a lot of NBA playoff talk, a lot of NFL talk, a lot of whatever you want to talk about. We talk vacations. We talk movies. Everything is happening over there, and it's a bunch of OU fans just living it up on OU Insider VIP. So $9.95 a month, $9.95 for the whole year. Or if you're a college student, .edu, you can email us. You want to join the club, go and talk to everybody for $11.95. We'll send you a promo code if you email us from your .edu. We'll send a promo code. You send it to ouinsider@rivals.com. You email us from your.edu. We'll send you a promo code. You get an OU Insider for a whole year, $11.95. Or active duty military. Doesn't matter the branch. We love our military. Thank you guys for your service. $11.95. Again, emails from your active duty military account to ouinsider@rivals.com, and we will send you a promo code for 1 year for less than $1 a month. All right. That's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live powered by Riverwind Casino. For Parker Thune, for Spencer Forsythe on the board, my name is Brandon Drumm. You guys have a blessed night.